Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well today. Well, today I've got 3 terrifying yet strange encounters with Deerman or Wendigo. You guys help us decide. Before we get into these encounters, though, a couple links I'd like to share. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch to help this channel to continue to grow and go. Those links are in the description below. I also have a second channel for creepypasta, fanfiction, and scary voice acting. Stories that don't fit on this channel. Now, if that's anything that you're into, please follow that link and give them a listen. You may just like what you hear. I also started a GoFundMe page to help raise some money for urban exploration, cryptid hunting, and ghost hunting videos I will be doing very shortly. If that's anything that you're willing to help with, that link is in the description as well. Now I've taken enough of your time. Let's get on with these strange yet terrifying Deerman encounters. Shall we? Today's first encounter. This happened a few years ago when I was mountain hiking. We started as a large group, but after some time of everyone choosing their own pace, I ended up walking by myself. I was walking downhill through a thick forested area when I slipped on an unstable part of the trail, and I slid on my butt to where the path goes straight. Before I could get up, a deer walks out of the trees on my left and stands in front of me. This isn't natural because deer usually avoid human contact. Something was really off about this deer, and I wasn't sure what it was. Its eyes looked lifeless, and its aura was that of uneasiness. Then it opened its mouth to show multiple rows of what looked to be razor-sharp teeth, and made an ear-shattering scream. It sounded like nothing I had ever heard before. It sounded so unreal, like it shouldn't exist. I watched quite a lot of horror movies, and I've yet come across a scream so demonic. After the scream ended, it just closed its jaws and walked away to the other side of the woods. I've never told this story to anyone before. I've heard stories of other mountain walkers talked about and how everyone that does gets labeled insane, so I've kept it to myself. But I know what I saw. Hell, I can't forget no matter how much I try. It still gives me shivers to this day. Our next encounter brings us to New Hampshire. Any scout that has gone to Camp Woonsocket has heard the tale of Sagey and Sagey Island. The original tale is about a Native American boy who goes back to his village to skin and properly dispose of the dead animals that the settlers had killed and left. He starts a bonfire on the island and slowly starts bringing the animals across in his canoe to burn. He gets down to the last 3 animals, a bear, a deer, and a moose, when the settlers see him and start shooting at him. He gets onto the island and jumps into the fire with the animals. Thanks to the fact that he was still living and holding the animals, their spirits merge together and create what is most commonly referred to as a Wendigo. Every once in a while, he can be seen wandering the woods and streets around our camp. Now, on to my encounter. Being as though it's my 3rd year at the camp, I was very comfortable staying there, even at night out in the woods. Both my friends, Kyle, Will, and Ryan, are sitting at a table under an awning, telling stories and just gabbing, having a good time, when Kyle says, "Be quiet and listen." It was silent for a bit until we heard what sounded like someone running through the woods. So we all look over and see antlers poking from behind a tree. At first, we're pretty wowed at the fact that a deer would be this close. Then we realize something. The antlers are 3 feet above where they should be. Right as we start to back away, it sprints from behind a tree and slashes at our tent, 10 feet behind us, and starts breaking things. After about a minute of it breaking things and us getting on top of a picnic table and grabbing our knives, it runs off. For some reason, only a few other people noticed it. Our scoutmasters came running over to ask if we were okay and what happened, seeing as though we were almost crying and in shock. After the encounter, I'll never go back to that camp, though. Whenever I think of that camp, I get an eerie feeling that I am being watched. Our third and final encounter. This sighting comes from a 17-year-old kid traveling to see his friends on a Friday night on a May-long weekend. Usually these details cruising around and exploring the countrysides, but on this day something happened, and that is, he got lost driving down Range Road 174 and decided to pull off the road and turn off to a crop production service road. Well, he tried to gain his bearings, and as the world around him was already becoming an alien world, he didn't expect to witness a sight that he will never forget. Slowly, he began to turn around and make his way back to the part of the journey that may jog his memory. As he was driving way below the speed limit in an attempt to find his way back, he coasted until he came to a complete stop, as the sight that befell him was one of monstrous. The very thought of a half-man, half-deer on 4 legs standing perfectly still. The strange creature was attempting to cross the road, but stood perfectly still like a statue. It was beyond anything he could imagine. Not knowing what to do, he just sat there with his mouth wide open. The stench of musk filled the air, and soon seconds turned into minutes. He was afraid to move even an inch, as he thought at any moment the beast would attack him, and do God knows what to him. Thoughts were racing through his head of his parents not knowing where he was, of him not graduating, not going to prom, and not being able to follow his dreams. The Deerman slowly stood up, revealing its true height, and slowly it began to walk towards the car, moving just like that of a deer, very quickly, and skittish movements. While the temperature dropped, steam can be seen shooting out of its nose. It silently towards him and began letting out snorts that cut through the air and filled him with fear. Just as the Deerman stood a few feet from the driver's side window, the young man began to cry without a second to spare. He threw the vehicle into drive and sped off. The last of the Deerman occupying the same distance as the nameless individual was that he slowly began to run towards the vehicle until it gave up. Through his rearview mirror, he saw it get back down onto all fours and return into the darkness. This encounter happened in Alberta, Canada. Wow, guys. A short one today, but definitely frightening. I mean, we all think, the dog man, Sasquatch, they're terrifying. But a deer man or a Wendigo, I mean, I don't know what these are. These could be some sort of new hybrid creature. Or a Wendigo. I mean, God, I'd be petrified seeing a deer with razor-sharp teeth, antlers that can pierce my skin, and then to have it stand up. I mean, it's going to be at least 10 to 11 feet tall, 200 to 300 pounds. Then it just could charge and poke through my car door. Nah, no thanks. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed these encounters. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I'll have some dogman encounters to share with you tomorrow. And with that, guys, I bid you farewell.